Hi, I'm Teja. I'm a developer relations engineer for Harness STO, and in this video we're going to look how you can respond to the exemption requests created by your development teams. So this video is very specific to AppSec teams or the AppSec workflow, where your developers are notifying you to actually exempt certain vulnerabilities as they are blocking their development pipelines. So if you have the notification set part of your STO exemption management, we should probably come across a similar notification that you see on the screen. So this is a Slack notification which just got triggered due to an exemption request created by a developer, which has issue details along with the issue severity, along with the scope of the request, which is our target for the target name, along with the project, the requester details, and for how long, along with, more importantly, the reason. So in my case, we have a Slack notification, but if you have your notification set for emails or Microsoft Teams or any others, you should be able to find a similar notification. And first and most importantly, as an AppSec user or a project person, to understand the request more clearly, I'm going to go ahead, click on View Exemptions in Harness. So this will take me to the exemption section in the STO module, where you have all the requests which are categorized by the statuses. And before we actually open up the request and make any action whether to approve or reject it, let's take a step back and understand lifecycle of a specific exemption request. So let's get into our developer docs, and from here you should be able to find a manage issue exemptions document, where you have everything detailed related to what a pending state is and how a pending can be approved, and from there to be rejected, and when an exemption can be expired. And all the related actions or the events are also detailed. So make sure you understand the statuses and also the life cycle of a specific request so that you can take necessary actions for the request created by the developers. So let's go back and open up our request, search for it quickly. And this is the request that we got from the notification. So at a high level, you have all the details related to the severity, scope, reason, the duration, and the requested by. You can take actions from right here, but let me get in further detail by clicking on the request. And from here, you should be able to find all the issue details. So starting with the issue, along with the issue type, scanner, and the identifiers, everything that you can find from the scanner, particularly about the issue. And more importantly, you have the targets that are actually impacted by this specific issue. In this case, there is only one, but there could be multiple. And at the same time, as you click on a specific target, you should be able to also find specific occurrences. And from there, you can go further by clicking on a specific occurrence, and you'll have all the details related to the occurrence. So with all of these details, you can decide whether or not approve or even reject. So to do any of that, you can just quickly get into the exemption status button from the top right. And from there, you have a choice to approve or reject. And if you notice, you have all the details here along with the scope. The scope of this request is only for the target. But if I choose to go ahead and approve it, you have an option not just to approve for the target, but also approve at a higher scope, where I can approve and get this exempted at the project scope or the organization scope or even at the account scope. What I mean by that, I can at least just go ahead and approve for the requested score where it get exempted for this specific target, or I can exempt at the project, which means throughout the project, this vulnerability will be exempted. And the same applies for organization and account. But depending upon the permissions you have, you may not find all these options. So make sure you understand the RBAC permissions, and depending upon what permissions you have, you should be able to find those options. So let's get into our developer docs and actually see the permissions and the metrics for the exemptions. So here we have the exemptions permission matrix, where you have all of them detailed, and you can understand that and get the necessary permissions to take any action. Let's go ahead and actually try to approve an exemption. So here we are. Let's try to approve it at a higher scope. What I mean by that, I can approve it at a project. What it means that this vulnerability will be exempted throughout the project. Or I can do the same for organization or account. So these actions has a larger impact. So make sure you understand the actions very clearly before you make any approval. So let's try approving it for this account. As I click on that, I can quickly review and add any comments and approve this. So this exemption is successfully approved. So that specific issue will now be exempted throughout the account, which means that in all the organizations within the account and all the projects within the organizations will now consider this vulnerability as exempted. And you can also view all of these exemptions, not just at the project scope, but you can also get in at the organization level and go to exemptions to view the exemptions from the organization scope. In the same way, you can also get into the account level and you can view the exemptions from the account scope, from which you can also make the necessary actions, whether to actually approve or reject it. So just to conclude, we just got notified by the developer for an exemption request. From there, we just got into our exemptions tab in STO with a single click. And from there, we got in all the details about the request, including the issue severity, from there to the impacted targets, from there to the occurrences. Reviewing all of that, we decided to approve it, not just at the requested scope, but at a higher scope. So now the developers can actually continue their pipeline and the pipelines are not blocked by this specific vulnerability as this got exempted. So this is how you can manage exemptions in STO. Thank you.